Hello and welcome to the Movie Power Rankings Show. I'm your host, Gabe Alexander, and with me today, as always, is Mike Romick. Mike, you there?
I sure am.
All right, Mike. Today we start our show off with a little music from, Mike, can you guess the movie?
It is so familiar, but I couldn't place it.
Oh, see, you're going to kick yourself when I tell you, because if you recall the gift you gave me over Christmas, you did the same thing, but this is from the 54 Godzilla.
Oh, my God. Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good score.
Yeah. So that was our music to open the show today. And so today's show, we're going to cover our April power rankings. And we're also going to briefly discuss the rest of the movies from 2022 as we're catching up on our movie power rankings show. And so we plan to next week do a summer preview show where we're going to preview the big summer movies, and we'll be saying which ones we're most excited for. But today we're going to start off with any errors and omissions from the previous show. In the previous show, we were covering our pandemic top 10 movies, and so, Mike, anything you want to add or change or correct from last show when we were doing the pandemic movies?
Yes, I definitely misspoke. When I was talking about Mank, I had said the article written by Peter Bogdanovich was called Raising Cain. Incorrect. That is the book that was published that had the Citizen Kane screenplay and the Pauline Kael article in it was called Raising Cain. The fantastic article out of Esquire that, refuted that information in the Kael book was called The Kane Mutiny. That definitely, anybody interested in that at all should look that up. But again, I just switched the name around. But anyway, the article from Esquire is The Kane Mutiny by the late Peter Bogdanovich.
Okay. So, we're going to I have no errors or omissions that I could think of from last show. So,
good for you.
Yes. And so let's move on to, let's talk about some movies from April, Mike, that we've seen. I know I did more streaming this month, and that's usually how I catch things, but you've caught quite a few things in theaters in April. So why don't you kick it off and tell us about what you saw last night and Friday, and then we'll cover some of the rest of the month. It was you did the Northman, and then you did the Nicolas Cage movie, which is called The
Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Is the Nicolas Cage.
Okay, well, why don't you tell us a little bit about it? What did you think?
Okay. I don't know. I liked it. I laughed. It definitely is meta as you could get. I mean, it's, gives Being John Malkovich a run for its money. I think Being John Malkovich was a better movie, but this one is very funny. And it's got to be for anybody that's a big movie fan. I mean, particularly if you're familiar with the many, many movies of Nicolas Cage, because they reference, I couldn't even count. But again, it's funny. It's got Pedro Pascal from The Mandalorian and Game of Thrones in it, and again, he's Nicolas Cage, but Nicolas Cage on steroids as far as the plot is. Just you suddenly realize at one point you're actually in a Nicolas Cage movie, and there's all sorts of action, but there's comedy, and again, I was with it. Again, it was for once it was it was the right length. It was an hour and 40 minutes, I think, as opposed to these things that are going way over 2 hours now. But no, I enjoyed it. Again, it's silly at points, but just fun. And like I said, I don't know how a regular general audience is going to feel about it. But again, somebody that's movie oriented would have a much better time, as I did, and I think you'll like it when you see it.
Huh. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out when I can. I don't think I'm going to rush to the theater to see it, but the other one you saw, which I'm definitely more interested in, is The Northman, and that's from director Robert Eggers. And he did, correct me if I'm wrong, I'll look it up really quickly, but he did The Lighthouse, which is an excellent movie, and then he did The Witch as well.
The Witch was his first movie, Lighthouse is second, and The Northman is third. Now, the first two movies, which are very, very interesting, but again, really art house fare as far as, a general audience is going to have a difficult time with both of those movies. But particularly The Lighthouse was, two guys going crazy, and more or less as an audience, you're going crazy right along with them. But, I liked him very much, very original. Where The Northman is really his most accessible movie. But that being said, it's still a Robert Eggers movie. I mean, we're talking violence and just, I really thought it was terrific. I mean, the cast, the look of it, the locations, that he had done incredible months and months of research and making sure, with the sets and the whole look of it was authentic costumes and props and all of that, and it shows. And of course, the story, if you know anything about it, is based on the same legend that Shakespeare based Hamlet on. In fact, our lead character is Hamlet. And, the setup, not giving anything away, is Hamlet's uncle kills his father and marries his mother, and then in the rest of the movie is a revenge fantasy. Revenge with a capital R. And, everyone was good. I mean, but the cherry on the cake here is Nicole Kidman as the mother. She is just, wow, unexpected. I mean, I think she's a wonderful actress, but I mean, she's really doing a little something different. I mean, and just, there's without giving anything away, there's a twist that you don't see coming that's like, whoa. But, extremely violent, incredibly photographed. Some scenes are essentially black and white. The movie's in color. But again, I was very surprised. I was thinking it was going to be a little dark, because as far as the look of it, because The Witch and particularly Lighthouse had a lot of darkness to it. Some of it, I would assume, and I thought a little hard to see, but I love the way the Lighthouse looked. But this, it was a little brighter than a lot of his stuff. Not that there isn't a lot of dark scenes, don't get me wrong. But again, no, I really, I don't know if I can. No, I can say I enjoyed it. I don't know. It's not like you can't say it's a lighthearted romp in the Viking world, but I mean, it's terrific. Now, supposedly, of course, it's the most expensive, like $90 million. I don't know if it's going to make $90 million, but again, there was a good crowd when I went, and so I hope it does well, because again, it's a very interesting piece of work, and I think you're going to like it very much.
Yeah. Well, I will definitely see that, and we would both recommend. I recommend horror people see The Witch, and anyone who likes a good independent movie, and even with a little horror tinge, The Lighthouse is also a great film to see. Can't wait for
Joy, who was in The Witch, and also most people know her from Queen's Gambit, is also in this as a, let's say, I've read things that says she's a witch, but, I don't know. But like I said, she assists our Hamlet in his search for revenge. But, I always like to see her. She's got an unusual look to her, and
Willem Dafoe's in The Northman, and he's in The Lighthouse. And,
small part for Willem Dafoe, but again, very effective. And Bjork is small part too. Not my favorite, but again, she does a good job in a very small part. But no, definitely worth seeing. And like the look of it is stunning.
All right. Well, you touched on two that you saw in April. I'll touch on two streamers I saw in April. The first was a movie called Windfall. It had starred Jesse Plemons and Lily James and Jason Segel, and that was pretty much the cast. It was just the three of them. It's like a tight little thriller, kind of crime drama, and can't say I'd really recommend it. It looks like it's a product of the pandemic, where it's just them in a house, really. So, yeah. Another one I would maybe recommend a little bit more was another streamer on Netflix, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We get kind of the Halloween and Halloween Kills version of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where they bring back the old star from the original Tobe Hooper movie, and she's an older lady now that's kind of like the Jamie Lee Curtis character in Halloween movies, and she's out to take out Leatherface here in this one. So, but I'll say, some of the cinematography in this was very nice, for kind of like a drippy, kind of gory horror movie. And, some of the kills are good on this. There's these, woke, young hipsters, and you're kind of wanting to see them get it from Leatherface. So, no, I had a better time with it than I thought I was, because I was a little reluctant going into seeing this.
Now, was that direct to Netflix, or did that get a theatrical release?
No, I think it just popped on Netflix in April here. So,
because I didn't hear anything about it. I mean, so
yeah, came and went with not much consequence. Yeah, but it seems that a lot of the horror likes to come out in April, because it's kind of like an opposite of October. And like Quiet Place has done that. When that came out, that was an April release. It was kind of like and then, for when the release comes on, Blu-ray and stuff, it's out before October, so people can buy it and see it then in October. So I'd say the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a good October appropriate watch when that comes around. So, all right, Mike, give me
one other thing I wanted to mention about the Northman. The ever-busy Ethan Hawke plays the father, and it is interesting to see Alexander Skarsgård and Nicole Kidman together as they were in Big Little Lies on HBO, but very different relationships there. Just wanted to mention those two things. Anyway, do we want to go to the start of April now?
Yeah, give me a couple others you've seen in April here.
Okay. I saw The Contractor with Chris Pine, and I liked it. I mean, it was sort of a B movie. It was enjoyable, but, sort of faded from memory pretty quickly. And then we have The Assault that only Michael Bay can do, one of your personal favorites. Now, that being said, I'm going to start out with, I certainly wasn't bored. I hate to say I enjoyed it, but I kind of did, and, too long as usual. But, oh, my God, I swear to God it's not a single shot that's held more than 30 seconds. And, of course, the plot holes. You could drive a fire truck in addition to an ambulance and several police cars through the plot holes. And, again, everybody's, Jake Gyllenhaal is like, really, he's acting all right. I love Jake Gyllenhaal, but just a little over the top there. And, no, I mean, it was enjoyable. I mean, incredible amount of car chases. I mean, all of a sudden I was reminded of the original Blues Brothers. And it certainly zipped along. And speaking of zipping along, when you eventually see this, when you eventually buy this, to your Michael Bay, add it to your Michael Bay collection, the credits, you watch those credits, and I mean, at the end, I defy you to read almost anything in those credits. They zoom by as fast. If you watch any television, if you watch like a credits for an older show that's on, and they rescue squad through those credits, in I don't know, triple time. That the fastest credits on ambulance, and there's a lot of credits, but they are zooming by. You are not intended to read those people, which is sort of really strange, but it goes along with the rest of the Michael Bay experience. But again, I
want to see it. The movie we hinted at, I think it was a couple shows ago that I caught up on Netflix was the Six Underground, and you would probably hate this movie, like Six Underground, but you're talking about nonstop action, and there's parts of it where I like I like the stunts. I just like the craziness of it sometimes, and just I kind of want to see Ambulance, and I don't know, I like Michael Bay a little bit more than you. So.
A little bit, we can say that. What's the plot of that movie?
I don't even want to describe Six Underground. It's got Ryan Reynolds, and he leads this team of everyone on the team is fake their deaths so they can make some real change in the world, Mike. And it's just that they get into the craziest nonsense action. They and the main plot is they're trying to overthrow this dictator, this government. So they're trying to install a coup.
So it's a character-driven drama that would give Drive My Car a run for its money. There you go. Okay,
yeah,
I got it.
Good double feature with Drive My Car. Lots of driving my car in Six Underground. So yeah, and I'm sure in Ambulance too. There's some cars being flipped and tossed and exploded. So
Ryan Reynolds needs to take a little break. He's just working a little too nonstop, taking the check. He's got to read those scripts a little more carefully.
Maybe he just wants to work with Michael Bay.
Maybe. Is it Michael Bay editing? Like I love.
No. What I think I missed what you said there. But anyway.
No, in Six Underground is the editing. As we.
It's probably worse. It's probably
no.
This is probably his worst.
No. You haven't seen Ambulance. No.
Well. Okay. What else did you see from April?
Okay, the next thing I saw was All the Old Knives.
Another Chris Pine movie?
Yes. And slow. Again, interesting, okay, good cast, but just meandered where I could see people not finishing this. And what the heck the title means, you got me. But,
and that's got Thaddy Newton in it?
Yes, before she went off the deep end, gets fired from the Magic Mike third one, and, rumors have it she was fighting with, who's our star there? Channing Tatum with, over the slap. God forbid. But, anyway, it was okay. I made it to the end, but, no. Sort of pokey but well made, but, nothing special. And then...
Did you see Sonic by chance? Did you go to see Sonic?
Oh, no. Life's too short. I didn't see the first Sonic or the second. And I know you loved it and bought it and thought it was, Citizen Kane Sonic, which could be better. But I did not see either Sonic. So, but I know you liked the first Sonic.
I just did a rewatch. I cracked the plastic on my 4K Sonic, and it's an entertaining family film. It's not Citizen Kane, but it's it's not bad to pop on and have in the background. Or I'm gonna check out Sonic 2 when it comes out. Probably.
I've seen the preview for both of them several times, and I was afraid somebody would have to Clockwork Orange me to the chair to have me see that. But
well, speaking of Clockwork Orange, I'll do one mine I saw from April, which was streaming on Netflix again, The Bubble from Judd Apatow. Mike, you don't need to waste your time on this.
No.
Everyone else doesn't either. There was maybe a laugh or two in it, but otherwise way too long. And with the cast was great. I just what they had to work with. It wasn't,
Is there a Judd Apatow movie, and I've liked some, that is not too long? Every one of his. I don't care. He doesn't.
Maybe 40-Year-Old Virgin is maybe an hour 45.
I don't know. I'd have to check that out. But yeah, check that out on IMDb. But again, you know, so many of his movies go on and on. And of all things, I mean, people will say I've lost my mind. But I would say he's like John Cassavetes. Now, again, John Cassavetes, a very interesting director, you know, a god of the independent cinema, and, you know, a lot of wonderful performances. But also, most of his movies go on way too long. He gets enamored of the performances and doesn't want to chop them down, whether it's Husbands or, you just name it, John Cassavetes. But my favorite, which again nobody talks about, is Minnie and Moskowitz, a short little romantic comedy with Seymour Cassel and Jenna Rollins, his wife. Again, wonderful, short, to the point, and beautifully done. And it was a minor hit in its day, but of course it wasn't that angst that you had with Faces and Woman Under the Influence and all those other ones that go on and on and on. And again, you know, I like him, but it's like, oh my God, it was like I had to force myself to go because I knew it was going to be a challenge.
Yeah, I just bought that Cassavetes box.
How I had the same issue with that.
Yeah. Well, the 40-Year-Old Virgin was an hour 56, and so that seems long. And then, I did just buy that Criterion Cassavetes box set with all of those that you're talking about. So.
Yeah, like I said, some interesting stuff in there, but you know, he was, you know, he kept them cheap, and you know, they were critically well received. But I mean, he needed somebody to say, "You gotta shorten this, John." But you know, nobody would.
Yeah. So we can move on from that bubble because that is a no recommend from the Movie Power Rankings.
What's the setup? Quick sentence setup. What is the setup then?
They're making a movie during the pandemic, and so they're all isolated in the bubble. And, you know, they're going through all these, the guidelines and all the, you know, measures to keep everyone safe. And, you know, it's trying to make jokes about it, and it's trying to make jokes about, the state of Hollywood and how it's like they're making like the 6th movie in this series of films. And it's just not good. I mean, I like the cast, the Keegan-Michael Key and David Duchovny and Karen Gillan, and I mean, I like the cast. It just, the script's the issue.
Unfunny comedy is
it's not a very funny comedy, and I think all the reviews and the Rotten Tomatoes score and all that will show that too. So it's. But you know, it's one I got through.
The Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. Now, I like the Harry Potters. You know, I'm more of a Lord of the Rings than the Harry Potter, but still, I like the Harry Potters. And then that first Fantastic Beasts was okay, fair. The second one, no, didn't like the story, just didn't like the way it was done. I mean, I was like, no. And J.K. Rowling, of course, had done this, if I'm not mistaken, done the script for both of those. Now, the third one, they knew that there was, it's not that second one didn't make money, but it didn't make enough money, and the reviews were bad, and so they had waited a long time, and then they come back with this third one. Now, the screenplay credit is really strange. It's screenplay by J.K. Rowling, screenplay by two people, one of them J.K. Rowling, based on a screenplay by J.K. Rowling, a different screenshot. I thought, wow.
That's odd. That's odd, yeah.
That is odd. But anyway, of the three, it's the best, but that's kind of faint praise. I mean, I was not going to go back and sit through that second one. But again, I got it. I knew what was going on. Again, some of the people that were very important in the other two are, sidelined in this. And, again, special effects and stuff are fine. I mean, I've been to the Universal, and, I was like, ooh, look at that. It reminding me of the Universal Wizarding World of Harry Potter. And the cast was all good. I mean, we have, of course, Johnny Depp being being replaced by Mads, you pronounce his name?
Mads Mikkelsen replaced Johnny Depp, yeah.
Right. And he's fine. And, I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was good. Too long, of course, over 2 hours and, 20 minutes, whatever the heck it is. But, it was okay. Would I see it again? Would I buy it? No. But again, as far as the three, that's the best. But, again, they're disappointed in the business and it's supposed to be 5. We'll see if there's going to be 2 more. That might be the end of it. Might be like the god-awful Golden Compass movie, which needed to have 3. And, we had 1. And, with Golden Compass, you're left in the middle of, a cliffhanger. And, no, better read those books if you want any more information on the rest of the Golden Compass story. But, no, it was okay. No more, no less.
Yeah, we'll see if the box office might kill that series.
They're saying 4 and might save it, but, we'll see.
We'll see, yeah.
And then the only other one I saw in April that we haven't touched upon is Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Now, if there's an indescribable movie that I've seen I just can't even compare anything else to it. It's a lot of fun. I mean, Michael Bay would be so upset because it does the rapid-fire editing sparingly, but very integral to the story. Because just to give you the setup, because I couldn't tell you the rest of the movie, it's Michelle Yeoh, who's wonderful, and she finds out through her husband that it's a multiverse, and there's hundreds, if not thousands, of her name is Evelyns, and they're trying to find the one that's going to save the universe and all this, and you're bouncing through different stories all the time, and you have people that have fingers that are like hot dogs, and you have all sorts of things, and you gotta be ready for this because it is just you gotta keep up because it's zooming along 90 miles an hour, and it's funny. The cast is good, and much not mentioned but just tremendous is Jamie Lee Curtis, supporting part as an IRS agent that's doing an audit on the laundromat that Michelle Yeoh and her husband operate. And she jumps in with both feet, and she's ready to roll. And then, of course, when you see other universes where she's the same character, but not the same character. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis is great. And again, you got to be in the mood because it's frantic. It zooms along, and, but no, I had a very good time. And, again, but I don't know once again, I'm not denigrating the general audience, but again, it's more of an art house thing into, somebody that responds to sort of not your normal movie, because I think regular moviegoers looking for a comedy, a normal comedy, wrong movie to go to. But again, it's a lot of fun, and I think you're going to really like it.
Yeah, definitely interested in that. I will see that for sure. So,
and that's the end of my April thing.
Okay, I think that's April. The rest of mine are either catch-ups from earlier in the year, or and then like stuff from March. So, so let me just rattle off a few that I've seen from the rest of the year, Mike. I had watched 14 movies in 2022, or released movies that were released in 2022. I've seen 14 of them. And Mike, you saw how many?
I believe I said 16.
16. That's what. That's what I have written here. So, I'll just rattle off mine. My first in 2022 was from Amazon streaming. It was Hotel Transylvania 4, Transformania. I don't know if I could really recommend it to anyone else who just enjoys the series of those. I've seen, I saw a documentary about Boeing. It was called Downfall, the Case Against Boeing. A little documentary I saw on Netflix. Just if you like the business world, you'll see kind of like this scandal involving Boeing. I saw The Tinder Swindler, another documentary about a guy who cons women out of money on Tinder, pretending to be a rich kind of playboy, and he scams them for money. I caught Against the Ice. That was on Netflix. Mike, did you catch Against the Ice as well?
Yes, I did. And I liked it. I like that kind of movie.
Yeah. It's set in like the, North Pole area, and just a kind of adventure movie, if you like an adventure kind of survival movie against the ices. That's what that is. I guess the big one I caught in March was the Batman. We kind of talked about Batman in earlier shows. Really, I rewatched it again when it came out on HBO Max streaming here in April, and I like it. It's way too long, and I watched it with my girlfriend. She was so bored with it, and that was her first time through, and you kind of see it, there is some repetitiveness in the movie, and just it makes it too long, a little on the boring side. Not much action and not much fun in that movie.
It took a long time to get to any action in that.
Yeah, and I heard now there's this debate on is the Batman a film noir, and I mean, even I think from the old days, the film noirs, they were always kind of known for being short. Like you get to the point, you solve the crime, the bad guy's punished, and it's
I'm a big fan of that Noir Alley on Turner Classic Movies, and some of them don't even go 90 minutes. And that with those with Eddie Muller that does the intros and the closing, those are great. I mean, if anybody's not watching that, you should watch that at all costs. I mean, I've watched dozens of movies I've never heard of, with usually some B actor in it from some studio I hadn't heard of, and there hasn't been one that there's been a few that have been disappointing, but there hasn't been one that I thought wasn't worth my time. And like I said, most of the 90 minutes, almost all of them. If it goes over 90, I'm like, really? What happened with that? Usually that's when a Columbia or a major studio done that, and MGM has something, But no, I would not call it a noir. But I would call it noir. I mean, we and I agreed on the Batman. It was long, and that's the biggest hit of the year. Biggest hit of the year. Go figure.
Well, I wonder if we're now going to probably get sequels or a sequel greenlit, and I'm just waiting for that news to drop. So.
Sure.
I caught up on Jackass Forever. I know you'll probably never see that, Mike, but
no, I saw the preview.
The first half hour, you kind of remember the fun of Jackass, and I was laughing for the first half hour, and then the second half hour, I was like, yeah, checking my watch, and, you start to get annoyed by the constant, hyena giggling of the guys laughing at the stunt. And then the last half hour, you're just like, is it over yet? It's just kind of how I felt about it. So,
one thing you had to say about that is I didn't know you had a watch.
Well, my phone. I checked my phone.
That would have been a correction you would have to do.
Okay, I don't know if that would warrant a correction, but Death on the Nile I caught up on because that went streaming on HBO and Hulu, so I caught Death on the Nile, which I liked. I didn't,
Have you seen the first one, the one with Peter Ustinov?
I don't think so. I think I saw the old Murder on the Orient Express, and I'd seen the new.
I loaned you.
Yeah, you loaned me that. I caught that, and I saw the new Murder on the Orient Express that Branagh did.
Because the original Murder on the Orient Express is as perfect a jewel of a movie with a phenomenal cast. And when I first saw it at the movies back in, God forbid, 74, if I'm not mistaken. But again, it just was just perfect. I mean, the cast: Sean Connery, Vanessa Redgrave, Albert Finney, Wendy Hiller, Lauren Bacall. I mean, and again, everybody wonderfully cast. And Ingrid Bergman was the Oscar for the woman that takes care of little black babies. I mean, but again, it's just a gem. And then I hated the remake with Kenneth Branagh. I mean, even the big reveal where the whole idea is like with Agatha Christie, everybody in one room. Again, they do the reveal outside the train. I mean, what the heck? But again, and then right before Death on the Nile, the remake was going to go. I own the one with Peter Ustinov, taking Hercule Poirot, and Betty Davis and Mia Farrow, and another cast not quite as glistening as the Murder on the Orient Express, but still, again, very enjoyable movie. Maybe a little long at 2 hours and 20 minutes or whatever, but still, very good. And then, then the pandemic came, and then, then Army Hammer's, weirdness came about, and they pulled it, and then it got released. So there was about a time between when we watched the old one and the new one. And I have to say, it was okay. I mean, they didn't screw it up. It certainly wasn't as bad as the Kevin Branagh Murder on the Orient Express, but, I liked it. But still, the other one is better. But, and of course it made money, so they'll have, they'll go on to other ones.
What's the next one?
Remaking. There's a ton of Agatha Christie that they could do that would just,
right.
They're remaking the old ones.
Give us a prediction. What's going to be the next one he does?
Well, if they're going according to the canon, it's either the movies. It's either Evil Under the Sun, which is an enjoyable one with Maggie Smith, or The Mere Craft, which was fair, but it had what a cast! It had Rock Hudson, Elizabeth Taylor, Angela Lansbury as Miss Marple, and Kim Novak. Should have been better than it was, but they could remake that. But like I said, if they're doing remakes, the ones have already been done. You've got there, and of course you had PBS and BBC had done a million of those. You have A Murder Announced, A Murder in Mesopotamia. I mean, there's any number of ones they could do, but we'll see. But again, made money, so we'll probably see more. Which I'm there. I mean, I'm Agatha Christie fan.
Yeah, okay, moving on. I saw Black Crab. That was a movie you mentioned to me this week, Mike, that you read a review on in New York Times, and I caught that on Netflix, and I recommend it. It's a Swedish movie.
Yeah.
It's kind of a futuristic war movie, and they have to, ice skate across this frozen, river and sea. It's pretty interesting,
Naomi Rapace is the star.
Yes.
From
Prometheus. She was the lead in Prometheus.
And the girl with the dragon tattoo, the original Swedish trilogy.
Yes. I caught the Steven Soderbergh Kimmy with Zoe Kravitz. Yeah, another kind of trying to be a thriller, a pandemic era thriller, I guess, and again, kind of forgettable.
Really forgettable.
I did The Adam Project with Ryan Reynolds streaming on Netflix. People like this, and I do. I don't recommend it. I go watch Free Guy instead. I liked Free Guy better. So, and then the last thing I did was that Pixar that went to Disney Plus, The Turning Red, and I liked that. I liked the animation, and I liked it was a fun little story. And if you kind of get the point behind the subject matter, I've heard, Mike, it's about, women's periods. So, it's, maybe that was why it's gone streaming. I think we talked about it. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Did you see that movie, Mike?
No, I want to. Boy. Ron DeSantis and Ted Cruz better not hear that about women's periods. We're going to have, they're going to be yanking Pixar movies off of Disney Plus for their sexual content.
Well, you'll have to get the mature Disney Plus that you agree to now.
Right. That's funny. Anyway, the first movie I saw back in January that was a 2022 movie was The 355. Not such good reviews, no business. And again, it had that taint like the Ghostbusters sequel with the women and Ocean's 8. That, people just don't want to see a bunch of women. But I'm sorry, I enjoyed 355. Not the script. The script is, you'd seen it before. But the women were, whether it's Penelope Cruz, Jessica Chastain, and, it was just, they were all so watchable, and they made it for me. Again, can I recommend it as a movie? No. Can I recommend it if you like those women? Absolutely. And then you're going to have to pull it up. The next one I saw was Blacklight. It was so wonderful, I don't remember what that was. What is Blacklight?
Blacklight. 2 words or one?
What?
Blacklight as in 2 words? Oh, that's the Liam Neeson movie.
Okay, that's why. That's why I didn't remember, because it's like all the other Liam Neeson movies, where they're taken 9, 10, and 11, or The Marksman, or honest to God, I looked at it, I go, what is that movie? I don't remember. I don't remember the
Don't
story. I
even
don't remember the
remember.
plot. But it's Liam Neeson. Do we need to say anything else? I mean, and like I said, Liam Neeson can be a wonderful actor, whether in Michael Collins, The Schindler's List. I mean, he's done some wonderful things, but again, he's become this aging senior citizen action star and probably getting a lot of money. But again, what's funny is most of his stuff actually opens at the movie theater, even in the pandemic. I mean, and that's got an older audience. I don't think a younger audience is going to that kind of Liam Neeson movie, but, and he's got, what's the one that's coming out next week? A Memory, is it?
Memory, yeah, the last weekend in April, there's nothing, it's like a dumping ground, and I mean, there's nothing, and that's probably the biggest movie is that week, is that Memory with Liam Neeson, so, yeah, I'm not going to see either one of those, so.
Yeah, there you go. And then we talked about Death on the Nile, and then, and then we went to Dog. Now that made, they kept that cheap, and that made money. They're very happy with that. That's the Channing Tatum, and I think he co-directed it about a soldier, and he's taking his fellow soldier who died's dog to his funeral. Now, right there is enough that some people are going to say, oh no, you know what? It was okay. I mean, it could have been a lot sappier than it was. I certainly wouldn't say it was a great movie, or it was okay. I mean, I was afraid it was going to be way more sappier than it was. Then I saw the Uncharted, which again is National Treasure for people who thought National Treasure was too realistic. Again, it was fun. I was with it. Again, not Mark Wahlberg. I mean, oh please. I mean, he used to be so good, and now he just walks through things, sort of like Chris Pratt does now. Just seems bored with it all, and just Tom Holland was fine, and production was pretty sumptuous, and okay, but you've seen it all before, and you've seen it all done better, but sort of a time waster. And then moving down my list here, the Batman we discussed. Kimmy, oh my God, we discussed. Oh, a wonderful movie that went under the radar, which I was surprised it even went to the movie theaters. The Outfit, with the incredible cast led by Mark Rylance, and it's sort of a British gangster movie that, I'm not surprised it was based on a play. It sort of takes place in one room and a tailor shop. But that being said, dialogue, cast, one of those scripts you go, ooh, where are we going now? I mean, some unexpected things happen without giving anything away, but I recommend The Outfit very highly. But again, you got to be you got to realize, you're going to wait a bit for the action, and there is action. But again, script, dialogue, cast, just I thought it was a wonderful movie. And again, why they sent it to the movies, nobody was going to that. I mean, but still, I thought it was quite the treat. And moving on to my list. The Lost City. Ah, God in heaven. No. I mean, I liked Romancing the Stone, Romancing the Stone. The sequel, Jewel of the Nile, no, a mistake. And then, they've remade this. People don't remember Romancing the Stone with Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner. And, I don't know. Sandra Bullock, and I mean the best thing. I mean, it was a waste of time. I mean, they spent a lot of money on it. But the laugh out loud part was Brad Pitt, a very tiny, you could almost call it a cameo, but he laugh out loud funny. But gone from the movie way too soon. But no, I couldn't recommend Lost City. Against the Ice we talked about, and then we get to the April stuff with what started with the Contractor. So, overall, not a particularly, dazzling year so far. I mean, a few gems here and there, but, we'll hope for when we have our summer preview that there'll be things that we are looking forward to more.
Yes. Okay, well, we'll wrap up then the rest of 2022, and we'll get into some news and notes. Mike, you had sent me an email about Sony was shuffling. First, we had DC movies being shuffled about, and now we have the Sony movies being shuffled about, particularly the Marvel Sony movies. And that was the big one that I was most disappointed in was that Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse, the sequel to
Part 1 or whatever, they changed the title.
Yeah, they dropped the Part 1. They pushed it to 2023 now, and yeah, that was the one I was looking forward to seeing. There's a Madam Web movie they're making with Dakota Johnson. That, I think, got shuffled around. And then, I don't know if I saw on YouTube that there may have been a Miles Morales movie and then another Spider-Man with Tom Holland that were going to be announced. But we'll see. Yeah, again, the big one being the Spiderverse movie, the animated movie being moved. It was going to come out in October of this year, and then they are now just moving it.
They were playing previews for that at the theater.
Yeah,
I love the
trailer.
The first one was a masterpiece. There's no other way to put it. Now, you're far familiar with this than me, because when they've done that shuffling with the Marvel stuff, there's issues because there's an order that has to kind of be kept up with those. What about these Sony's? Is there an order that they need to do those in or not?
Well, we'll see, because some, the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies are directly connected to the MCU, and, Into the Spider-Verse is not really connected, but we'll see. I mean, I don't know. And especially, the Morbius thing, which you didn't see Morbius, right?
No. I mean, I normally see, that was a big release, I thought, but the reviews were just so painful. I just couldn't work myself up to that side.
Yeah, I'm in no rush to see it either, and I'm a big comic book movie guy, and no, I'm not. And the things I hear about that where, what's really going on, and does Sony know what they're doing? Because of what I hear in Morbius, it seems like no, it's even more confusing, especially the end credits scenes and the shuffling of these movies around. Are they trying to be more of a connection to the MCU, or is it a move to distance and get away from the MCU? I mean, I think time will tell. I can only speculate now. And
now, Morbius, where would that normally end up streaming very shortly? Where would that go?
I believe Netflix has a deal with Sony now that they're going to release the stuff streaming.
But maybe I'll come over to your place and we'll watch it, but we'll have to have alcohol nearby.
Yeah, or we'll have to stop at the kitchen counter. We'll see.
Yeah, or something that get a pizza, something that will distract us when the movie goes bad. So we're able to be eating it, because I'm not a big fan of eating, and I'll have popcorn or something. But again, we might have to have a meal during that to get us through. So.
And did you catch this week, Mike? I guess the other big news was the Thor trailer dropped. The Thor: Love and Thunder. We got a teaser trailer, and again, as a preview to our next show, we'll be covering that in the summer movie preview show. But did you catch the Thor trailer? And do you have any thoughts?
Now, are you all? Everybody's all agog about this. I don't know that I am. I mean, okay. And how is Natalie Portman is becoming Thor? What's the deal there? Do you understand that? I don't.
Yeah, in the comics, Jane Foster, that's who Natalie Portman plays, she ends up contracting cancer, and somehow it's connected with that, she gains the powers of Thor and becomes what they call the Mighty Thor in the comics. And it's kind of sad because every time she transforms into Thor, like her Thor version, I believe it makes her cancer worse because it like wipes out all the chemo and radiation treatments out of her body, and so that it sets back her treatments. And so that's kind of like the tragic part of it, is that she has to become Thor to, to save someone, or, fight off an enemy or something. And then, that's then setting her cancer treatment back. And so, I think this cancer storyline is going to be covered in this new movie.
That's shocking. So there's multiple Thors? Is that how this is working here?
Yes, because there's also Beta Ray Bill, who is a comic character, and there's rumors that he'll be in this movie. And there was even a shot in the trailer where there's people speculating that he was kind of scrubbed from the trailer, like the Spider-Man trailer, where Marvel's done that, where Beta Ray Bill is another version of Thor. He also has the powers of Thor, and again has a different weapon that he carries. It is kind of like a hammer type weapon, but he also is like a Thor-like figure. So, and again, is this going to be multiversal things because we have the Doctor Strange movie coming out? I don't think so. I think this is our Jane Foster from the MCU.
Okay. Where did we leave Jane Foster in the previous Thor movies?
She was infected with the reality stone, like red sludge, if you recall. And that was in the second Thor movie, The Dark World. Now, she did not show up in Ragnarok. She's only mentioned in Ragnarok that she and Thor had broken up. And then she shows up in Avengers Endgame, but that's in a time travel sequence where they were going back to the past to Thor, The Dark World. So
my head is starting to hurt, but go ahead. Keep going.
No, it's welcome to comics. So we'll see. I mean, I like Ragnarok. I think a lot of people like it more than I do. I've rewatched it a couple times, and each rewatch it kind of becomes lesser to me, and I don't know why.
And I love Kate Blanchett, but she's a little over the top there too. So.
No.
But
all right.
I thought maybe you had heard something more than I have. Now, what is the release date on that?
That's the July of this year release. So, we'll be covering
in our summer preview show.
Yeah. Any other news and notes? I mean, I have the con list here, but it looks like a lot of these we'll be covering in our summer preview. There's some indie stuff. There's a new one from looks like George Miller. 3,000 Years of
made
Longing.
Under the Radar, along with the new David Lynch, God forbid.
Or David Cronenberg has Crimes of the Future. That trailer's out there, which I saw, which it looks kind of.
I didn't see that trailer.
It looks interesting. It looks it's different looking, definitely a little indie. And it looks futuristic, is what I remember.
It's sort of hot and cold on him. He's, sometimes good, sometimes not so good. Sort of like Steven Soderbergh type thing.
James Gray has a new one. Kelly Reichardt has a new one.
Oh, Kelly Reichardt. Watch the paint dry. I mean, I've seen enough of her movies. I mean, nothing happens. I mean, there's some good cast, good performances, and it just sits there. Even something like Meek's Cutoff, I believe it is, which there's a good story in there, but not the movie. I mean, she's a critic's darling. She makes nothing that isn't wildly praised, and it's like, no. But again, she's got a new one, and there's some interesting people at Con, and again, it's nice to see the festival coming back alive, because it's always fun. I mean, I get updates from Variety and Entertainment Weekly on my phone and stuff, and I'll be excited because, Variety does full reviews of all that stuff, months and months before it's released here. So it's always good to see, what's happening, who gets the walkouts, who gets booed, who doesn't show, who gets slapped. Oh, wrong show.
Yeah. Yeah, the Dardennes have a new one at Con. Claire Denis has a new one.
I like those. Yeah.
Chan-wook Park has a new one at Con.
Yeah. Can't wait.
Yeah, so there's some things that it looks like Elvis they're going to screen, which we'll cover in our preview. Top Gun's going to screen there. We'll cover in our preview show. Michael Havenicius, I remember that name.
From the artist, right? Yeah.
The artist, okay.
I thought his follow-up movie was, if you're familiar with it, you're familiar with the movie The Search? Montgomery Clift?
No, I'm not
Again,
sure.
it's so funny. He filmed that first, but they were worried about that. We're talking 1948. So he filmed Red River with John Wayne, the Howard Hawks, second. They flip-flopped him. Of course, Red River, big Western hit. And then he did The Search, which, of course, The Search got great reviews. He gets an Oscar nomination for The Search, Montgomery Clift does. And again, it's about, after the war, I believe it's in Berlin, and a little boy gets lost, and they're hunting for his mother. I mean, a very good movie. You've got to be in the mood for a very sentimental tearjerker type thing. But again, very well done. Well, he remade that with the guy that starred in and got the Oscar for The Artist. And that was his follow-up. That played at Cannes. Oh, my God. The reviews were terrible. Boos, walkouts. So bad, it doesn't even get a release in the United States. And to my knowledge, I have never seen it streaming or anything. I mean, there's been a lot of bad things you can catch streaming, but they've not even sold that to a streaming service. I mean, and it's like, wow. So he's due for a comeback, so to speak. So, I like The Artist. I think it was overpraised, but I mean, it was okay. But I mean, it's sort of, you've seen Singing in the Rain, you're kind of right in the same ballpark there. But, yeah, I see we're crawling up on our 1 hour time here.
Yeah. So, anything else you want to cover out of the news and notes from this week? We have Lightyear got a new trailer, but again, I think we'll cover that in our next show.
Yeah. Right.
So let's wrap it up, Mike, and I'll preview our next show coming next week. We'll do a summer movie preview show, Mike, and first big movie this year. We'll talk Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness and what we'll be watching to get ready for that, and what we'll also be releasing for May, June, July, and August. I think we'll cover whatever time permitting. So
yeah, and with the little asterisk there that subject to be moved to 2023 to Christmas, whatever.
Right, things could shuffle around. So yeah, we'll take a look. We got a Jurassic Park, we got Thor, we got some big movies this year. So. All right, Mike. Well,
Top Gun, we'll see.
Top Gun, that's been moved around a lot too. Yeah. So.
All right. Well, thank you, Gabe. It's been wonderful as usual, and talk to you next week.
Okay. All right, Mike. Thanks for being here, and we'll catch everyone next week. All right. All right, Mike. Bye.
Bye.